Hi, I'm Scott.
I'm Matt, good morning.
We're from HireWindow, and today we're going to be talking about how to prepare for a job interview.
We are.
So Matt, first of all, why is it important for students or any candidate to prepare for a job interview?
The most basic reason is it is painfully obvious when someone hasn't prepared. As someone who's recruited for my own teams, for other people's teams, as both an executive search consultant and an in-house recruiter and now a business owner, runner, operator, it is painfully obvious when someone is not prepared for an interview, and that is essentially not a good look. It's just going to massively damage your chances of actually landing a role unless you're some kind of unicorn type candidate. I think that there are people that can win job interviews and it goes very well, but that's maybe 2 or 3% of people. So unless you have utmost confidence in yourself being able to essentially fool professional recruiters and HR people and business leaders about whether you've prepped for an interview or not, it's not a good look to turn up and look like you haven't spent any time preparing. And the reason that it's not a good look is it just looks like you're not very serious about the role. It looks like you're not actually that interested, and it might be a job that you really care about getting. It might be a job that is perfect for you, and you do really want to go and work for that employer. It just won't look that way unless you've put the preparation in.
And if you've got to the point of even applying for a job, you should have done some research or background checks into the company anyway and the job to understand if it is for you or not. But people talk a lot about doing a lot of research to understand the company before interview. What are the type of things do you think people should research?
Yeah, so first of all, I think that's a really good point. That I always say to people, don't apply for a job unless you really, really want it, because it's just a waste of time.
Waste of everyone's time.
Waste of everyone's time. Unless you're really certain that that company will suit you and you'll enjoy working there and the role itself will be challenging and stimulating and interesting, and you really see yourself working somewhere, don't apply for the job. Culture is the biggest one. It's a very difficult thing to do until you actually work somewhere. Exactly what a culture is, and it's a slightly nebulous term at the best of times. But do as much research as you can from careers websites, from Glassdoor, from video, social media, etc., as to cultures within kind of an industry, particularly if you're just starting out in your career. What generally industries feel like. As much information as you can get about what it looks and sort of really feels like to work in an organisation. Again, definitely for the start of your career, understanding more about the day-to-day activities of a role is really important. Jobs are different from company to company to company, but overall, again, there will be some key themes that come through. So it's kind of about an organisation's culture, what it's like to work there, and you can, as I say, there's social media, there's websites, there's obviously their careers pages as well. And those are the main things, because it's kind of going to be a case of what the environment is like, and then what you're tasked with on a day-to-day basis. Those are kind of the things that I think is easiest to get your head around. I mean, it's impossible really to know what your manager's really going to be like until you've met them. The best thing you can do is talk to someone who works there or has worked there. Mm-hmm. If you're on LinkedIn, or if you happen to know someone that works at the company you're applying to, have a conversation with them. What does it feel like? What's the culture like? What should I know about working there? That's probably the best thing you can do, is to try and hear it from the horse's mouth.
And one of the things that people often ask, or I'm sure is one of the most searched things on Google, is what do you wear to a job interview?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a really, really easy answer. There's 2 really easy answers to that. The first of all is every company now has plentiful videos and photos, etc., on their careers page. If they don't have a very good careers page, they will probably have some kind of gallery on their corporate website. Mm-hmm. Look at what people are wearing and copy them. Yep. That's the best thing to do. The only other thing that I could recommend, if you're really uncertain, is find out the number of the switchboard or the office, call up and ask. Mm-hmm. And the person working on switchboard or reception is pretty likely to give you a useful answer.
And can you ever be overdressed?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, if you turn up in a 1980s pinstripe power suit with a red tie and a pocket square in to a creative marketing agency where people wear sandals and chinos, you're going to look like an idiot, and you're going to look like you fundamentally misunderstood the culture of the organisation and the role, and the people are going to be essentially put off. So you absolutely can overdress, just as much as you can underdress. So I think it's a balancing act. Yeah, you don't want to underdress, you don't want to overdress. But personally, I'd rather slightly underdress than I would overdress.
Okay.
I'd rather turn up somewhere that was suit and tie in a jumper and trousers, than I would turn up somewhere that was, like I say, t-shirt and jeans in a full suit.
Mm-hmm.
Because kind of that's generally the way that the world is heading. But my personality is that's the kind of workplace I want to work in anyway.
Yeah.
And so if they react in such a way that is, in such a surprised and horrified way that I've not worn a suit and tie, I probably don't want to work there either. So you can kind of think about it in that way as well.
And I guess the answer to this question differs on the job, but what should you bring to a job interview?
Yeah, always bring something to write on, pen, spare pen, notes as well. It's not always easy to remember the questions that you want to ask in an interview, so just write them down. You could print the job advert. Pretty much the basics. Pretty much the basics. I mean, something to write on, notes about questions, maybe information about the job so you can refer back to it. That's about it. Usually nothing else. I mean, so I've heard a lot of people say take a bottle of water with you, but frankly, you should be offered a drink. You should be alright.
And there may be some jobs, like say creative jobs, like graphic designer, where you need to take examples of work. But
absolutely,
usually you'd be told about that, wouldn't you?
But most of the time, you'd be told if you haven't, and you are going for a creative job, then it's probably safer to sort of take something like that. If it's a tech job and you want to take examples of your work, and just rock up with your laptop with the tabs open in a browser, that kind of thing. Better to be safe than sorry with that kind of thing, where sort of work examples, because people are imperfect, they might forget to tell you they want that kind of stuff. So better to be safe than sorry.
And one of the most daunting people dread about an interview is that part at the end when the interviewer says, "Have you got any questions?"
Yeah.
What can you do to maybe prepare for that? And are there any questions you think you should always ask?
So to prepare for it, I would tend to think about two areas. So I tend to think about the organisation broadly, and so I might have some questions around the strategy for the organisation over the next 5 years or something like that. The purpose and the mission and the values and the culture of the organisation, to understand more broadly the organisation that you're kind of setting yourself up for a job in. Obviously, you don't want to come across as ignorant. You don't want to come across as, so what do you guys do? That's a stupid question. So you want to come up with some more thoughtful questions, such as you talk about these values on your website. What does that actually mean on a day-to-day basis? What does this kind of nebulous value term mean?
And that's what that research earlier on can help you with that.
Exactly. And then I would think about the job specifically. Again, you don't want to seem ignorant because you want to have done your research in the first place. But if there's any bits and pieces where you think, actually, I'd like some more clarification as to what that means, or what opportunities are there, what comes after this job, what's people develop into, those are really good questions as well. And there's a couple of questions that I always really like when a candidate asks me, which is, why do you work for an organisation? So when I was an in-house recruiter, one of my favourite questions that a candidate could ask me was, why did you join this business, and what do you enjoy about working here? Just very simple but very, very strong question as well. And also, frankly, I always think it's a smart idea to ask the question: is there anything else I can tell you about myself? Is there anything I have, any information that you need from me that I haven't been able to give? Anything that you're unclear on? Something along those lines of, giving yourself an opportunity to fill in any gaps or allay any concerns that the person on the other side of the table may have about you. So that's a smart question to ask as well.
Okay. And finally, is there anything else you think that someone should prepare or would be useful when preparing for a job interview?
I would tend to say it's worth having a kind of skeleton idea, some bullet points or some just some sort of general, I guess, key points that you want to hit when the certain questions that you know are going to come up in an interview come up. That's really important. Link those back to the company itself, and I would say that the most important thing to do is to put yourself in the shoes of the person interviewing you, and understand that what they are looking to do during the course of that interview is gather evidence that you're a good person for that job and for that organisation. And all of the information that you need to prove that you are the right person is going to be available to you either in a job advert, because there's going to be a person specification in there, or on that employer's career site, or just their corporate site where they're talking about values and this, that and the other. And I would tend to remember the language that they used and make sure that I had specific examples of being bold and brave, if that's one of the values, and mirror that language back at them. So I think that that's the final point that I would make, is just remember that the person on the other side of the table is not trying to kind of catch you out or make some kind of judgment call, or kind of finger in the air, that person seems about right, or oh, they came across really well. They're actually there to gather evidence that, as I say, you're the right person for that job and for that organisation, and you've got the information that you need to prove that you are, to come at it from that angle.
Perfect. Well, hope you found that useful, and there's lots of information like that on the HireWindow blog. And for any STEM students looking for their perfect fit jobs, you can sign up at HireWindow.com.